What about fix and flip investing, man? There's obviously some money involved in that.
This one makes a little bit more sense to me.
Yeah.
With a fix and flip, you're so if we're talking flip to sell, right? Or I guess fix and flip.
Fix to sell.
Fix to sell. Got it. So in this scenario, from what I gather, you find a house ideally in distress.
Same thing.
Right.
You might get it from a wholesaler.
Right. You might get it from a wholesaler. So now you're the end buyer, right?
Right.
And then you've got to rehab the house, right? So you've got the acquisition costs, you've got the holding costs, and then you've got the rehab costs. And then you got to pay for the sell, sell the house too. But a lot of times that'll come out of closing costs, that kind of thing. So there's a fair amount of dollars, a fair amount of income, or not income. There's a fair amount of money that you have to be able to accomplish this, right? And so one popular way is hard money, right? You get it pretty quick. You can get it in 20 days.
Private money as well.
Private money. It's more, it's easier to get because the ropes that are attached to it aren't quite as as strict and that kind of stuff. It's known for being a little bit pricier, right? 11, 12%, something like that. And then you pay, at least from what I understand right now, and then you pay, maybe a point in the front, point in the back.
I'll give you a real life example, man. So I just bought a house last Friday. I borrowed $200,000.
Yep.
It's an auction house.
Yep.
So I bought it for $118,000. I borrowed $80,000 to fix it up.
Yep.
I'm probably gonna be $1,000 or $2,000 over budget based on my numbers, which I'm okay with.
Yep.
So I took out two different loans on it, right? So I borrowed $200,000 to buy and fix the property, and I borrowed another $15,000 to cover all my closing costs and everything like that from somebody else.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Now the first guy, he charged me, this is one of my private money lenders. I've been doing business with him for years.
Yeah.
I could say, hey Matt, I need a closing tomorrow. He'll fund it.
Yep.
I'll pay the 3% without
That's
a problem. Right. So $6,000 out of pocket.
Yep.
And then he charged, so it's 1% per month. So it's 12% amortized over the course of the year.
Yep.
So my 1%. So my mortgage payment, my interest only payment on that is $2,000 a month. So let's say it takes me 6 months to give him back his money. I just paid him another $12,000.
Right.
So 12 plus, $6,000 up front. So you make $18,000 on the $200,000.
Right.
Right. Now, whether he has the money sitting in his account or he's pulling it from somewhere, he's making money on the money.
That's right.
Right. So, long story short, I borrowed $220,000 on a $300,000. I'm gonna make $50,000-$60,000 on this house.
Right.
Which is the 15% that I want to make anyway. Right. I generally should make about $45,000 on a $300,000 house.
Yep.
But long story short, I'm gonna make about $60,000. That's why I was okay with the numbers.
Right. Right.
And I didn't have to come out of my pocket. I actually got $12,000 back at the closing table from my pocket.
Yep. That's
So-
sweet. That's awesome.
So in a HELOC situation, how would that work? How would that look?
So in a HELOC situation, one way you could use the HELOC is to, instead of falling back on other money, you could choose to use this. Right. Now, this isn't me saying you have to do this, you got to do this, right? Because the reality is it's another source of capital. If you choose to see it this way, it's another source of capital that you can use for investments. And real estate is one that's a safe investment if you know what you're doing. And so it's one of these things. So instead of paying a $10,000 premium for $15,000, you pay 8% for 6 months. Instead of paying, it sounds like
That's saving me a ton of money.
saving you a ton of money,
Yeah.
right? You, instead of doing the hard money lender, who I imagine you're a little bit outside the norm because you can get hard money within a day.
Yeah.
It usually takes people 15 to 20 days. If you have a great relationship, then it's usually shorter. One is that's as good as I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, if you're good at what you're doing, you have the ability to get it immediately. But now you're paying anywhere from 11 to 12 plus 3 points, right? And so as compared to borrowing from your HELOC, from your first lien HELOC at that point, to fund the deal, right? So because you're borrowing it at a lower rate, it obviously saves you a lot of money. So caveats to that are, if you run up your HELOC to the point, in that scenario, you got $450,000 a line. If you're at the max and you have access to no cash anywhere else, it'd be really easy to feel over leveraged and to be over leveraged at that point, right? And so and then if you want multiple deals, obviously, until you're able to do a cash out refinance, right, or until you're able to sell the flip and put the money back in the HELOC, that particular source is maxed out, right? As compared to a hard money lender, if you have multiple hard money lenders, you can do 3 or 4 deals at the same time, right? Now you pay a premium for that, but again, this is just another source of capital for to use. And if I compare to hard money, right, it's cheaper than hard money. In your case, you can get it just as fast because you can get it that day. But for most people's case, it's faster than that, right? Yeah. Another source that isn't really reasonable, but is out there, which is something like SoFi, right? Because in terms of timeliness, I can get $150,000, not because I'm special, just because they do it in a day. But it's at 18% with a 5-year AM. Yeah. Right. Which
you're talking about SoFi.
SoFi, yeah. And so, they're this, tech, FinCon or, a fintech company that does that. And they're making waves because they're doing things differently. So they'll give a ton of money, and they'll give it to you right away, but it's really, really expensive. Yeah. And then you've got bank money, right? Which is, you get a rehab loan, 2 or 3K or, some sort of, and that takes 30 to 35 days. It's less expensive than hard money, but it's hard to get, and it comes with a lot of strings attached, right?
Yeah, a lot of paperwork, man.
That's right. And you got to qualify and you got to check all the boxes, which is fine if you've got the time to do that. But if you're coming in and trying to compete with other real estate investors, you got to get money fast. Yeah. And you got to be ready to go right away. And waiting 35 days.
Slow feet don't eat.
They don't, especially in that world. Yeah. I mean, forget. So I live in Tennessee, and a bunch of people are moving to California. Everyone's, oh my God.
From Tennessee?
Yeah. No, they're moving from California to Tennessee.
To Nashville?
And everyone's throwing up in their arms oh yeah, all this California money's coming because you got a bunch of cash. And
that's happening here too, man.
It's crazy, right? And it's just, the thing is, it is what it is, right? But that isn't even the world of real estate investment. No. Everyone has cash. And you can buy tomorrow, you can close tomorrow. And if you can do that, you can win the deal, but you can also negotiate the deal down as well.
Absolutely.
And so it gives you a source to be able to do that quickly. If you don't have a hard money lender that can get it to you in a day, right? And it's less expensive than that, right? Or if you don't have a rich uncle that can do it for you too.
I didn't have a rich uncle. Definitely not. I wish I did, man. I'd be 10 times richer.
Yeah, for real.
Hey, what's up? It's Jamel Gibbs, your family-oriented entrepreneur. Listen, I really appreciate you watching this episode. Be sure to like, subscribe, click the notification bell, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.